The head-pounding knock at the door comes for the 28th time that same night. Having to abandon my cooking once again, I promptly hustle outside to the doorway, orange bowl filled to the brim with a variety of homemade candies made by yours truly. "Trick or treat!" the toddler squeaks. As he looks up at me, the dinosaur hoodie drops over his beady eyes. "What a nice costume," I sigh, grabbing a handful of candies and dumping them into the half-full pillow sack. "Thank you," he says as he waddles down my porch steps and back to his dad. I slowly shut the door closed and retreat to the kitchen. I quickly pull my golden-coloured chicken out of the steaming oven onto the counter, where I begin to bombard it with spices of all sorts. I still do feel the slightest feeling of guilt. I mostly enjoy handing out my candies for the troublesome teenagers, as older as they are, the more I give them. It's really just a fun-sized chocolate bar filled with a dash of vodka and some meth. I usually individually wrap them with pink or purple ribbons to make it look cheesy. Ever since I began giving out these candies, which has been well over 3 years now, no one has accused me yet of their children waking up the next morning, vomiting and sweating until they either drop dead or take a visit to the hospital. After all, I'm not the only one that does it in the neighbourhood. There's Peter down the street that hands out similar homemade lollipops that appear to be store-bought. I have to admit, I've really outdone myself this time. The chicken looked great and ready to devour. Before I can bring it to the dining table, I hear the knocking at the door for the 29th time. The knock sounds hard, shaking the floor. Shocked, I peek through a small crack I make in the door and see a small boy, between 6 or 7 years old, wearing a small little white mask, similar to a Jabberwocky dance crew mask. He's wearing a black hoodie and black jeans. He stands there staring at me from behind his mask. I grab the bowl of candy off the drawers behind me and hold it in front of him. "Take a candy. Your costume scared me." He peeks down at the candy and looks back up at me. "I know your secret, Anne." A ghostly voice, cold as ice, mutters. His voice shoots chills throughout my body. How did he know my name? Where were his parents? He remained silent after the statement, waiting for my reaction. "What do you mean?" I stammer. "Your candies are drugged. They made my friends sick." Following this statement, he slapped the bowl out of my shaking hands, scattering candy all over my porch. The bowl shatters on impact. "What's your problem, kid? Pick that up this instant," I shout, stomping out my door. The child tilts his head, appearing confused at this statement. "You heard me. Pick up my candy," I repeat. He shakes his head, backing up a couple of steps. "Well, how would you like it if I slapped your candy bag out your hands? Not very nice, huh? Now pick up my goddamn candy!" He shrieked in a high-pitched scream and ran down the steps of my porch and across the street. "Hey, get back here!" I shout, slamming the door behind me and slipping on my slippers. I sprint across the street and past innocent children in costumes and bewildered parents. I manage to see a small dark figure pushing his way past others. He turns onto the next street, crowded with cars and screaming kids. At least this street is lit up. I could clearly see him far ahead on the uneven pavement, but he was far too fast. He turned the next street very quickly, causing me to lose him. Grumpy, I make my way back home to see kids huddled on my porch taking fistfuls of chocolates, like a piñata just burst. I make my way up my porch and realize my front door is locked. The kids, watching me curse at the starry sky, flee towards their angered parents and quickly make their way onwards. Luckily, I usually kept my back door unlocked, so I hop my fence and manage to make my way into my nice, cozy house. Locking the door behind me, I turn on my porch lights and return to my kitchen. Great. Just great. The chicken was now cold. Ruined. I don't think I could have had a worse Halloween night. I decide to clean up my porch. I make sure to unlock the door this time and head outside. I hand 2 handfuls of candy and bring them inside and put them in a fresh bowl. I bring the bowl outside and begin to clean up. Finally, when every candy is returned to the bowl and every last shard of orange bowl was swept up, I felt a whole lot better considering Halloween night was almost over as it was 11 o'clock. I decide to bring a chair out and sit on the porch for the rest of the night. Only a couple of guests attended, all teens. Once the last light on the street turned off, I returned back inside, feeling a little bit better but still very exasperated. With the remainder of the night, I popped one of my old horror movie flicks, Hellraiser, into the VHS and began to doze off on the lumpy couch next to my bowl of steamy buttery popcorn. But before I can completely fall asleep, a loud knocking comes at my door. "What in the world?" I mutter, bolting up from the couch. I swing the door open and shout, "Go home, it's past midnight, you..." I pause. It's the boy in the black hoodie. Before I have a chance to react, he disappears across the street once again. "You best run away before I call the cops on you," I scream. "Get away from my house!" With all my force, I slam the door shut and lock it. Just in case, I grab a knife from the kitchen and return to the couch, ready to scare off any late night visitors. I return to the couch and lie down like nothing happened. The movie is near the ending, the same ending I watched as a kid, as a teen. The movie was long finished and I had turned off the television. I slept on the couch for no apparent reason, and began to doze off once again. I believe I got 2 hours of sleep before I heard my back gate creaking open. Now, fully awake and alert, I grabbed my sharp knife off the floor, standing in the middle of the living room. I quickly flicked on my light switch and stared at my sliding doors, eyes round as quarters, for about 15 minutes. All I could see was the sprinklers lying dormant in the middle of my lawn, flowers swaying in the gentle wind. Just when I thought it was my mind being paranoid, I hear the 29th knock at my door of the night, or morning. It's the same knock as the other two, shaking the floor, causing me to jump out my skin. I dare not open the door as the child might be there. I creep towards a nearby window in my bedroom that reveals a part of my porch. I slowly and quietly move the shades of the window. Slowly. I don't want to draw any attention. I open the shades enough to peek through without any suspicions. I see the same little black hoodie sitting on my porch steps, waiting for me to answer. He seemed harmless. Maybe he just needed help and he was afraid. But then again, he knew my name and my secret. No. I should probably leave him there. He might leave. I inspect his every movement, making sure nothing is harmful or will damage my property for the next 20 minutes. Just when I think he's going to get up and leave, he stands up and whispers something to himself, but I hear it loud and clear. "I know you're watching through the window. Come out here now." His voice is soft, ghostly. His words seem to pass right through me, shaking me right down to my core. I jolt back from the shades, heart racing. This cannot be happening. I need to wake up. I scramble out of my room and into the living room. I needed to act fast before this boy caused me any harm. Without thinking, I scream, "What do you want from me anyways?" There is no response. The only noise I can hear with my delicate ears is the wind picking up dead, crunchy leaves. I decided to call up Peter for help. The only thing the police would do is be locking me up for my candy. I punch in the numbers, heart feeling like it would leap out my chest any minute now. Fortunately, Peter picked up. "Anne, what are you still doing awake?" "Pete, you've got to help. There's a little boy that won't leave me alone. He's some kind of spirit." "Geez, Anne, did you eat one of your own candies on accident? Here, I'll come over there, but I assure you, nothing is wrong." "Thank you." Peter hung up shortly as I sat on the couch, miserable. Peter called me up 5 minutes later. "Help me," Peter says in an agonizing voice. He strains the words out slowly. "Pete? You okay? Pete?" I cry. "The boy," Peter mutters, hanging up. Tears streaming from my face, I sprint out the front door to see Peter standing on my lawn, cackling like an idiot. "You arsehole!" I sob, socking him in the chest. "Do you know how hard this night has been?" Sorry, he holds in a laugh. "It's just that..." "Just shut up," I shout, clenching my fists. "This boy has been tormenting me for hours now. For all I know, he could be inside my house right now, wrecking everything." I shove Peter and storm off into my house, furious at the boy. Furious at Peter. Furious at myself. I climb into my bed and scream. I begin to cry a river as Peter hustles down the sidewalk, laughing. As I sob in the darkness of my eerie room, I hear the shattering of glass, probably my sliding doors. Springing into action but still sobbing, I grab the knife that was sitting on my nightstand and roll onto my bed, the best hiding spot I could think of at the time. I hear small, soft footsteps on my wooden floor outside my room. I control my sobs as much as I can as the shadow of tiny feet walking past my doorway. The little feet return and head towards my room. The door creaks open, and the black hooded child wearing his white mask tiptoes inside, holding a glass shard for my sliding doors that he broke. I don't even have to look, Anne. You're underneath the bed holding a knife, wishing for Peter. Just come on out. I begin to sob uncontrollably as the boy crouches down and gives me the good old stare. He offers me a tiny hand, so friendly, so innocent. With pleasure I bring the knife down upon the boy's hand, creating a large gaping gash in his hand. He lets out an inhuman roar as he retreats, leaving a slot of time to run out of my room and run. He chases after me with ridiculous speed, diving on top of my back and slicing the back of my neck. I throw the boy off me, sending him down onto the wooden floor. I jog into the living room, grasping my wound with one hand and a knife with the other, and prepare myself for the worst. What I see limping around the corner is no longer a child. It is a pale, skinny, bony monster, still wearing the same mask and same hoodie, hissing and spewing out black liquids that appear to be blood. The height of it is increased as well, to about the same height as my waist. It crawled across the floor as it got a good grip on my ankle, taking 2 nips. I slice halfway through its neck, causing it to let go for a moment and drip black, slimy liquid all over the carpet. The pale figure squeals as it makes its final lunge at me. I plunge the knife through its mask, causing it to go limp and hit the ground. As the monster slams onto the black carpet, I wake up in a padded cell, hair a mess, limbs aching. As I later learned, there was no boy in a white mask, no monster, but there was candies that I confessed to giving out, and there was Peter, now dead. I had half imagined the events of the night. When Peter really walked away, he heard me screaming, so he grew worried. The front door had been locked, so in a panic he smashed through with the sliding doors, so basically the boy/white figure monster had been Peter all along. Near the beginning of the night, the boy in the white mask was real. He really did know that I had drugged the candy because he lived next door without me knowing for the past few years, and saw me preparing the candy one day. My mind had cracked near morning. I'd been taken in a few days later, lying next to Peter's corpse. I sat silently in my padded cell, admiring my surroundings, where I would remain for a long, long time. I peer at my door, where a figure out of sight knocked on my door for the 30th time.